Welcome on this rather warm Wednesday morning. And I read a really interesting article in the Independent newspaper yesterday, if you can read it there, saying that heat waves don't just cause sunburn, they can harm your mental health too. And this week I have found it the hardest week in lockdown, I think. I have been angry, I have been weeping irrationally, I have everything kind of in the space of a few days. I thought I was going mad. Or it was the menopause, I wasn't quite sure which. And then this article was saying that they've made lots of really interesting studies with rising temperatures on the effect on the human body. And they've seen that violent crime goes up, aggressive behaviour goes up. And even when you counter it with factors like age and poverty, unemployment, culture, heat is still quite a big factor in all of that. And sadly, they've also done studies to show that it can severely affect mental health. So anxiety tends to be worse. Some medications that people take for mental health conditions stops your ability to regulate your temperature as well. So it's a really interesting article on the effect heat has on us, both psychologically and physically, which I'm sure all of us to a greater or lesser degree have experienced. So we've got a really chilled out, grounding, calming flow today. Just in case any of you have got the heat rage, just make sure you behave yourselves and you'll all be fine. Okay. So we're going to start seated today. So coming to a comfortable seated position. Let me turn this fan on so it's a little bit quieter. So I'm going to start seated today. So I'm going to start cross-legged. But if you're desperate to lie down, guys, please feel free to lie yourself down and I'll get you up to seated when you need to. So I'm going to start and suggest that we start in a seated position, but obviously whatever works for you. Take a moment to get yourself comfortable, maybe just slide the flesh of your buttocks just out to the side there so you can remove your natural cushioning and find your sit bones. Maybe your hands just landing on your knees or perhaps arms up in your lap. Just take a moment to recognise where your hands are and know that you can adjust throughout this little opening sequence that we do if the shoulders start to fatigue or you feel yourself beginning to slump. So when you've kind of settled yourself in that comfortable seated position, take a nice, slow, deep inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, either lower your gaze or close your eyes. I'm going to keep my eyes open just in case anyone else joins us this morning, but whatever works for you, either just looking just at the point on the floor in front of your shins or closing the eyes. Let's just take a moment to settle and arrive this morning. Just recognizing maybe if you have experienced or maybe you are experiencing some of those effects of this unexpected and for some, welcome hot weather. Or maybe like myself, you found it a little bit of a struggle these last couple of days. So just kind of recognizing, acknowledging whatever you've got going on today. Excuse me. Feeling the shoulders begin to drop away from the ears. And let's take a really nice deep inhale through the nose together, your kind of fullest, deepest inhale you've taken all morning. Draw it right down. And as you exhale, slowly exhale through the mouth. Just let the breath go in a soft sigh. Do that twice more. So each inhale trying to make longer, deeper, fuller than the last. And as you exhale, just feel the shoulders, the face begin to soften. And on my last one, so nice deep inhale through the nose if that's available this morning. And that smooth sigh, fully releasing that breath as you exhale. All the way out. and allowing the breath to settle into whatever rhythm and pace works for you this morning. And just take the next few breaths just to begin to draw the mind into following that breath. It's coming out of your head and into your body. In the mind, something to focus on. And trying to keep the spine nice and tall, very gently allow the chin to drop down towards your chest. Just pause there without the body slumping forwards. Just feel the weight of the head beginning to open up some space and the vertebrae of the neck there. You might even want a slow shake of the head, really slowly, shaking the head from side to side, very gently. Or I can really feel that at the kind of base of my neck. Lovely. And if you're moving the head from side to side, just come to stillness. Chin down towards the chest. And then very gently just carve a line with your nose forward, so you're lifting your chin just so it's level with the floor. And we'll bring the fingertips just down to the floor beside you, with your thumbs facing forwards and the little finger edge of your hand facing back. So just press down with your finger pads and just feel already that the heart begins to lift. You can shake out your legs at any time if you need to. Beautiful. And now see perhaps if you can walk your little fingers back and away from you even further, without the body following. So we're beginning to lengthen up through the front body. So as you feel your breastbone lift and your collarbones widen, imagine you're squeezing a little pen or pencil between your shoulder blades. So you feel a little bit of engagement of those muscles there of the upper back. Let's just take a couple of breaths there, and you might find after a breath or two that you can walk your little fingers even further back behind you, pushing down with the fingers as far as feels comfortable. Lovely. So knowing that you can always bring your hands forwards a little bit, let's take a nice inhale there. And as you exhale, we'll drop the chin down towards the chest once more, but keep the breastbone lifted and those collarbones nice and wide there. So your breastbone is almost coming up to meet your chin. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, let's roll your right ear towards right shoulder. I'm going to push down a little bit more firmly into my left fingertips there, so I can just feel that work through the side of my neck. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, roll the chin all the way back down towards your chest, making sure, again, breastbone lifted, collarbones nice and broad. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, we'll take that to the other side. Left ear rolls to left shoulder. You can adjust the position of your chin. You can kind of experiment turning the chin up slightly or dropping it down, almost level with the breast. Take one more inhale. And exhale, drop the chin all the way back down towards the chest. Let's do that once more each way. Inhale to center. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Take an inhale there. And as you exhale, roll the chin back down to the center of your chest. Inhaling, broaden the collarbones, lift the chest. And as you exhale, over to the other side, left ear, left shoulder. We'll take an inhale there. And as you exhale, chin, come back down towards your chest. Once more, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting breastbone to meet the chin. And then again, we'll just lift the chin and relaxing the arms. Just give the shoulders maybe a little roll there. You can shake out the legs, maybe just change the leading leg if you were sitting cross-legged like me. Beautiful. And then fingertips once more, just down to the floor, pushing gently down, elongate through the sides of the body. And turning the palms up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, sweep the arms up and the fingertips might even touch above the head. And then as you exhale, flexing the wrists, we'll just take the arms all the way back down towards the floor, pushing the walls away from you. Arms up towards the ceiling. Inhale as you sweep the arms up. You feel that lengthen through the sides of the body. You can start lifting the chin if that works for you. Exhale, that big flexing of the wrist, so the fingertips are almost wanting to pull towards you. Let's do that once more. So opening up some space through the shoulders. Inhale, lifting and lengthening. And exhale, all the way down. Coming into a little side stretch. So we'll plant the right hand down onto the floor, just maybe alongside your hip. And really take a moment to spread the fingers and push down into your knuckles so that base feels really firm. Palm up on that left hand. Inhale, we'll sweep the arm up. And as you exhale, we'll take the arm alongside the ear, reaching over towards the right side. And now see if you can reach that top thumb, pull it back a little bit so you feel that the left armpit begins to open. You can roll the gaze up towards the ceiling, if that's comfortable on the neck, so that thumb is drawing back, opening up some more space. Making sure you've not lost that connection through your sit bones. Lovely. Inhale, rise up through center. And as you exhale, let's release that left hand down to the floor. Now again, spread the fingers, really root down into that left hand, pushing into your knuckles. Right palm up. Inhale, reach the arm all the way up. And exhale, we'll take that little side stretch. So the palm is facing down towards the floor now. So the thumb is pointing back behind you. See if you can pull that top thumb back a little bit so you feel that the top armpit begins to open. You can roll the gaze up towards the ceiling, but keep pushing into that supporting hand very gently so you're not collapsed in that left waist. Beautiful. Right sit bone dropping down. Inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, let's bring the hands down and we'll meet on all fours. So you can always roll over your feet to get there, if that's okay, on your ankles. Linda and anyone else with issues with their toes this morning, please feel free to keep your feet flat rather than putting any pressure on your toe joints. Let's bring knees underneath hips and hands underneath your shoulders. Again, spreading the hands nice and wide. Maybe even take your hands a hair's breadth wider apart, so you're creating that space in the upper back. Lovely. And let's just settle those foundations, so pushing into your hands, pressing gently into the tops of your feet and your knees. And again, we'll just carve that line forwards with the nose, so you're gazing towards the top of your mat. Let's bring your navel up gently towards your spine, so you're feeling that nice engagement and strength through your midsection. Lovely. So anyone with issues with their toes today, please feel free to stay there. If toes feel okay, let's tuck them under. And just pause there for a minute. Oh, it's a nice stretch out your toes if your toes are like that. And keeping that architecture exactly the same, let's just hover the knees off the floor so the back hasn't arched or rounded, the gaze hasn't dropped. See if we can just hold that for 3, 2, and 1. Drop down onto the knees, flatten the feet. And let's come into that familiar cat-cow, but we'll just take it nice and slow. So as you begin to tilt your tailbone up, feel your belly dip. Push into the hands, so you feel the shoulder blades again squeezing towards one another. The chin might lift a touch, but the neck stays nice and long. Pause there for a moment for a couple of breaths, feeling that lovely sense of arching through the back. Lovely. And now see if we can move from the tailbone as we come into that angry cat shape. So start by tucking the tailbone under, rippling that rounding up the spine. Head moves last, pushing into the hands. This time we're gazing either between your knees or maybe up towards your belly button. Pushing into the hands. And you might even, if you feel a little tight in the shoulders today, just scoot the hands a little wider apart there, giving yourself more space to spread the shoulder blades. And now let's move with the breath. So as you inhale, tailbone tilts up, chest comes forwards, keep the length in the neck, keep pushing into hands. And as you exhale, tailbone tucks. And the gaze drops, either to the knees or to the navel. Maybe close the eyes now so you can just roll with your breath. Squeeze the shoulder blades together as you inhale. And then feel the shoulder blades sliding apart as you exhale. Let the head hang in that exhale. Do that a couple more times. Front body getting that nice sense of stretch as you inhale. Back body as you exhale. Once more, inhaling. Just making sure again that you keep pushing into your hands, still softness in the elbows, so not locked out there. Beautiful. Coming back to that lovely flat back position now. Let's take it out of the wrists. So just bring your elbows down to where your hands were, and maybe give the wrists a little twirl or wiggle of your fingers there. And then we'll place the forearms down, palms down, forearms are parallel. You can stay there. Maybe even try a little cat-cow there. It's a completely different experience. Just dipping the belly and lifting the tailbone and then rounding up. If you want a deeper stretch between the shoulders, keep your elbows where they are, but start to walk your knees back, keeping them in line with your elbows. Now we're coming into puppy pose, so hips above your knees. And you can maybe start to bring your forehead down towards the floor. You might want to edge your hands forward slightly, maybe lift your elbows from the floor, or keep the elbows down. And it's a deep kind of back bend there as you offer your heart forward. So you feel a squeeze between your shoulder blades. So it's a kind of back bend for your upper back. So if that's not working for you, just walk yourself forward so your shoulders are above your elbows, forearms down, and do a little forearm cat-cow. If you're with me in puppy pose, let's take 1 or 2 more breaths there. See if you can melt your heart down towards the floor. Lovely. And slowly, if you're in puppy pose, I like to come out by sliding my hands back towards me, just so I can come back up onto all fours, which is where we'll meet hands under shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Let's just swing the hips over to the right and take a look over your right shoulder towards your hip there. So you feel a shortening through the right waist and a lengthening through the left. Coming back through center, keep the gaze forwards and then look over your left shoulder as you swing your hips to the left. Starting to move with a breath, 1 or 2 more, inhale. Exhale as you swing the hips. Imagine as you turn the head, you're leading with your nose rather than the eyes. So rather than just flicking your eyes just to the corner there, you're actually moving your head, keeping the neck nice and safe. So I'm going to do 1 more, swinging my hips to the right, looking over right shoulder, and 1 more, looking over left shoulder. Lovely. Coming back to center. And knowing that you can stay on all fours today, if there's any issues going on with your toes, or you simply don't feel like it, if you're with me, we'll tuck the toes 1 more time and just lift the hips up and back. And this downward dog is yours. So if you want to have a little pedal out through the feet, you want to have a little swing of your hips side to side, you can kind of make it nice and sassy and loose there. You give a shake of the head. Not going to stay here for too long. Beautiful. If you're kind of walking the dog there, just bring a little bit of stillness now. So maybe pop up, bend in the knees, send your tailbone up and back, ribcage towards thighs. If you're in your all fours, you can always extend 1 leg back behind you, pushing the ball of the foot away and then the other. Or simply do a cat-cow. If you're on your downward dog, maybe you can start to offer the heels down towards the floor. Again, just think about tilting the tailbone up, up, up. Beautiful. And then roll the gaze forwards between your hands. And as you inhale, start to walk towards the top of your mat. So when you get there, your feet behind your wrists. Let's just bend the knees really generously. Remember, if you get dizzy, you can always lift your head higher than your heart, bringing your hands onto your thighs. If you're okay with your head hanging, really bend the knees, really opens up a little bit of space into the low back. It's not about cheating the hamstrings, it's about just stretching another part of the body. The hamstrings will get their chance in a minute. Maybe hold the elbows so your upper arms cradle your ears. And if it feels good, have a little sway. Very gently side to side there. Lovely. And then coming to stillness, let's release the elbows. And we'll start to straighten the legs a little bit. This is when the hamstrings might kick in. As you slide your hands, I'm going to come all the way up, just above the knees. Roll the shoulders back. Squeeze that pencil between the shoulder blades as you come into that flat back. Same kind of architecture we did on all fours. So think about navel to spine. Gazing forwards. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's bend the knees and come back down into that forward fold. As you inhale, slide the hands up the legs. It might be on your shins, might be above the knees. Coming into that flat back. Lovely. Pause there for a moment again. Finding that lovely length through the spine, crown of the head and tailbone. Pulled in opposite directions. Take an inhale. Exhale as you bend the knees. Going to come up to stand. So if the arms are okay being raised, as you bend your knees, sweep the arms forwards as you begin to rise. So the arms are lifting as you rise on up into that lovely tall position. And then release the arms all the way down alongside you. Turning the palms forward so the creases of your elbows face forwards. I'm just going to adjust that camera there while you're finding that position. Lovely mountain pose. So palms facing forwards there. Lovely. You can even close the eyes if you feel comfortable. You might find a little bit of movement if you close the eyes. As you're standing in that mountain pose, can you think about your heart, your head above your heart above your hips, and your hips above your heels. So we've got that lovely upright posture. And then gently just shift the weight forwards and towards the feet. The heels don't lift, just rock the weight forwards. And then just rock the weight back into the heels, toes don't lift. And very gently, maybe do that once or twice more. And rock forwards, and a little rock back. And then finding that position now where you can really firm into your foundations. You're finding all four corners of your feet. Lovely. I'm sure you can see me there. Beautiful. So moving really slowly. I would say moving through treacle, but that's kind of what it feels like at the moment anyway. So just kind of carry on that theme today. Beautiful. So let's keep the palms turned up towards the ceiling. As you take an inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. The fingertips again might touch overhead. Bring the palms together as you exhale, bring the hands down to the heart, and then all the way down into that forward fold, tipping forward from the hips. Sliding the hands up the legs as you inhale into your flat back, shins or thighs. And as you exhale, soften the knees, come back down into that forward fold. Knees stay bent, sweep the arms forwards and up as you rise all the way up. And as you exhale, let's bring the hands all the way back down alongside you. Elbow creases facing forwards. Lovely. Once more, so inhale, reaching up nice and high, lengthen the waist, maybe lift the chin. Arms come all the way down the midline as you exhale, taking you back down into that forward. Hands slide up the legs as you inhale into that flat back, like a number 7 with the body. Exhale as you bend the knees back into that forward fold. Lovely. Inhale. I'm taking my arms forwards and up as I rise up. Kind of different there, just for my shoulders. And exhale, lower the arms. Palms face forwards. So little finger edge just by your outer thigh. Now add on this next time. So inhale, rise up, feeling that lengthen through the waist. Exhale, draw the arms all the way down the centre line of the body as you pitch forwards into that forward fold. And pause in this flat back. So if you're feeling okay in the hamstrings, that's one good thing about the hot weather, muscles tend to stretch. Come onto your fingertips with the palms facing in on the floor there. So your back is still straight, but it's on more of a diagonal there. Lovely. Beautiful. Take an inhale. This time as you exhale, bend the knees, we'll plant the hands and take a step back with the right leg. Lovely. So just maybe scoot that front foot forwards a tad. So as you bring that back knee down, you can flatten your foot or keep the toes tucked under, whatever's more comfortable. You've got that left foot right underneath the left knee. I'm going to scoot mine forwards a little bit. And see perhaps now if you can take the gaze forwards, maybe just dropping that right hip forwards a little bit so the chest is coming forwards. You might need to be up on your fingertips. And if that really doesn't work for you today, just bring your hands onto that left thigh. So you can just drop the weight slightly forwards whilst keeping that nice length through the chest. Beautiful. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, we'll start to shift the hips back into a hamstring stretch. Maybe lifting the toes of that left foot towards the face. Take an inhale as you look forwards. And as you exhale, allow the gaze to drop as you melt the body forwards over that extended leg. Now I've noticed my hips in this hamstring stretch have a tendency to swing over to the side. So if yours do the same, just draw your hips ever so gently back to the centre. Lovely. Nothing too hectic today. Let's roll through that front foot, bending the knee. Plant the hands. So feel free to come onto all fours if toes are playing up today, or lift the back knee and step with me into plank. See if you can keep your shoulders above your wrists as you do so. Nice strong plank. You can always drop down onto knees, but keep that nice long flat back there. Beautiful. If you're with me in plank, gazing forwards, let's see if we can just begin to round the back. So think about spreading that area between your shoulder blades, just looking directly down. Lovely. So navel hug up towards the spine. Let's see if we can hold that for 3, 2, 1. Back into downward dog or stay on all fours. Lovely. Beautiful. So again, you might want that little walk out through the feet, a little shake of the head. And then look forwards between your hands. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, walk your feet forwards. Top of the mat. Lovely. Inhale as you brush the fingertips with the floor. Rise up to stand. And as you exhale, let's bring the hands down to the heart. I'm going to turn around the other side as we do that left side. Lovely. So bend the knees. Arms reach down forward. First, inhale as you rise up. Exhale, hands draw down the midline, all the way into that forward fold. Lovely. Fingertips to floor or hands to shins or thighs. Find that flat back as you inhale. Plant the hands, bend the knees, and we'll step the left leg back this time. Again, maybe just taking a little wiggle, making sure that your feet are on train tracks, dropping that back knee, right ankle onto right knee. So again, option to bring your hands onto your thighs, especially if you feel having your hands on the floor kind of compresses your breath today. We don't want to do it. Lovely. Chest forwards, gaze forwards, and dropping of that left hip down towards the floor there. Lovely. Nice, easy breaths. Take an inhale. Keeping the gaze forwards as you exhale, we'll start to move the hips back. Pulling the right foot, getting my left and right fingers towards the face. Lovely. So we're coming into that hamstring stretch with the right leg this time. Again, my hips have done their usual and swung over to the left. So I'm going to draw my hips back through center there. Take an inhale, looking forwards. And as you exhale, let's take that melting down over the right leg. So you can lower the gaze. Again, if you notice your hips, like mine, start swinging over to the side so you can bring them back. The body learns how to cheat so easily, doesn't it? Beautiful. Let's look forward as we roll through that right foot, planting the foot. We'll plant the hands, option to come onto all fours or pick up that back knee, pause. Just see if you can keep your shoulders above your wrists as you step back into plank. So you've got to kind of keep the weight forwards a little bit. Lovely, push into the hands, keep the gaze forwards. And then again, see if you can join me in that little rounding of the back. So navel hugs up to spine. When we push the hips up, we just look directly down towards the floor. Let's see if we can hold there for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's push all the way up and back into that downward dog. Even that just feels hard today, doesn't it? It's a hard enough move at the best of times, but it's even harder. So finding that downward dog, again, you can take that little wiggle of the hips side to side, little shake of the head, doing whatever feels nice there. Beautiful. And then roll the gaze forwards. Lovely. And as you inhale, you can walk or you can step one foot, then the other to the top of the mat. Lovely. Exhale into that fold. And then as you inhale, let's rise all the way up to stand. Beautiful. Exhale. Hands draw all the way down to the heart. I'll come round to face you. How are we doing, guys? Lovely. Let's take the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. I'll turn and face you now. Palms facing forwards. Actually hold of that right wrist. Inhale, really drop through that right side of the body. And as you exhale, push the hips over to the right. Lower the gaze down towards the mat. And take that lovely side stretch through the body. Noticing again if that right hip begins to swing forwards, draw that right hip back. Lovely. Inhale through center. And as you exhale, let's change sides. Coming over to the right this time. Pushing the hips to the left, gaze down. Lovely. Draw that left hip back. Lovely. Inhale, reaching up through center. Separate the hands. And as you exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. I've chopped my hands off today. So either repeating that version or a little bit harder, we'll step right foot behind left foot, just tuck it in there. I've gone a flat foot, it gives me more stability. You might be on the ball of the foot, but be mindful that tends to make you wobble a little bit. So let's reach the arms up, catching hold of right wrist. Inhale, imagine gently pulling lifting that arm up towards the ceiling and exhale, pushing the hips over to the side, lower the gaze. So I can feel a little bit more stretch there. Draw that right hip back. Lovely. Inhale through center. And this time as you exhale, hands come to the heart as you step the feet apart on the mat there. Option to keep the feet apart, or bending the knee, left foot tucks behind right this time. No softness in that front knee. Reaching the arms up, catching hold of the left wrist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, so we're pushing the hips to the side, dropping the gaze. Lovely, lovely side stretch. Beautiful. Inhaling up. And as you exhale, we'll bring the hands down to the heart and step the feet apart. Beautiful. Releasing the arms alongside you, elbow creases facing forwards, little finger edge of the hand by the trouser seam on your outer thigh. Inhale, reach the arms up, last time. Maybe the palms touch this time, and as you exhale and draw the hands down, maybe the legs are a little straighter as you forward fold. Coming into your flat back as you inhale. And as you exhale, plant the hands, bend the knees, and we'll step back into a downward dog or come straight onto all fours. Beautiful. In your downward dog, let's take the feet a little bit wider apart there on the mat, hip width or even wider. See if you can bring your knees down, keeping them as wide as your feet. Flatten your feet, and maybe even bring your big toes to touch. Send the hips back towards your heels, and we'll come into that lovely hare pose, as it's called. Wide leg child pose. So let's see if we can bring a little bit of stretch there, making the most of this warm weather by creeping the fingertips forwards a little bit. So you maybe feel that your armpits are a little bit more open there. Weight back in your heels. Maybe forehead's resting on the floor there. You can stay there. You can always make it less energetic by just stacking one hand on top of the other, elbows wide, just to support your forehead. If you want a little bit more, just feed one arm underneath the other. It really doesn't matter which. I'm feeding my left arm underneath first, just for a change. So whichever arm you fed through, you're kind of reaching the fingertips away from you. And then see if you can roll that top armpit open again. So we're getting a little bit of groin stretch, as well as maybe a stretch between the shoulder blades. It's a little bit softer though with that thread needle versions. Beautiful. And we'll change sides. So I'm feeding my right arm underneath my left now. Fingertips are reaching away, so I'm just above my temple. Lovely. And then again, I'm just trying to roll that top armpit open a little bit. So I feel the weight a little bit more heavily in the underneath shoulder. Beautiful. Slowly, let's reach both arms in front of you. One last beautiful stretch. And then keep the knees wide as you walk your hands back towards your knees. So you're sitting up on your heels, feet flat. If that doesn't work for you today, feel free just to pop the legs out in front of you. So planting your left hand down, just on the floor in front of you. Let's look towards the right hand as you sweep it up towards the ceiling, open up through the chest. And then we'll wrap that right hand around the low back. Lovely. Roll that right shoulder back. Maybe gaze up towards the ceiling. Or maybe gaze down towards that supporting hand, whatever works for you. And again, recognize if you've got the same tendency as me to start to lean over to the left and draw the weight evenly through your sit bones. Some of you might even be able to scooch that right hand into your left waist, or even find the top of your left thigh there, without, again, that body cheating yourself at the stretch by leaning a little bit more heavily to that left bottom. Beautiful. Releasing the arm up towards the ceiling on an inhale. And as you exhale, let's bring both hands down towards the floor. Just push into that supporting hand, make sure the chest hasn't lifted. Gazing to, gaze towards the left hand. Inhale, sweep the arm up. Exhale as you wrap the hand around, finding the low back if that's available. You'll roll that left shoulder, maybe lift the gaze. Notice again if you're leaning into your right bottom, draw the weight back, push into that supporting hand. Beautiful. And again, some of you might even be able to tuck that hand around a little further, finding the top of your right thigh or just the right waist. Beautiful. Releasing the arm up towards the ceiling as you inhale. And exhale, bring both hands down to the floor. Point both knees forwards and walk your way back onto all fours there. Separating, actually no, we're keeping the knees together, beg your pardon, I'll come around and face you for this one. So keeping the knees together this time, hands underneath the shoulders. Now pick up your shins and take a little pivot on your knees, swinging your feet to the right and taking the gaze over right shoulder towards your toes, just as we did before, but maybe feel a little bit more intense now. Everything comes back to center. And then you take a pivot on the knees, so the feet swing to the left when we look over left shoulder. Again, leading with your nose. Inhale. Exhale, that little swing to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the left. Inhale through center. This time as you exhale, swing your shins over to the right and then bring the shins down to the floor and sit back so your bottom is just tucked in. You've got your shins on the right hand side of you and your bottom is down alongside you, so you're like a little mermaid there. Right hand just holds onto right shin or ankle. Get yourself nice and stable there. Again, if this doesn't feel nice, just pop your legs out straight in front of you. Let's turn the palm up on that left hand. Inhale, reach out. Same side stretch that we did at the beginning, but with a difference now, looking down towards your feet. And again, just lifting up through the chest. Beautiful, lovely stretch out. Lovely, slowly, slowly. Let's bring that left hand down. So shift the weight forward, so shoulder is above left wrist, right arm lifts up this time. And you might be able to bring your upper arm alongside your ear. You might even want to push into that supporting hand, lift the hips and straighten that top leg so you're on the inside edge of that right foot. And again, you can pull that top thumb back, pushing the hips forward, so we're getting a nice stretch through the side of the body. Oh, I love that stretch. So good for the hips. And then slowly, slowly, let's stack the knees. So you can drop your bottom down and pop both legs out straight in front of you now, giving them a little bit of a shake there. Again, you might want to just slide the flesh of your bottom to one side. So again, you're sitting up nice and tall on the sit bones. Softness in the knees, just to give the hamstrings a bit of a break. Let's reach the arms up as you inhale. And as you exhale, hinging forward from the hips, just let the arms drift down towards the floor, alongside shins or thighs. Walk the hands back towards you. Restack the spine. Let's go again. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, think about lengthening the body. So upper arms stay alongside your ears for as long as they can, and then allow the arms to drop. Let's do that once more. So pad the hands back, rebuilding the spine. So again, the architecture of the spine, head over heart, heart over hips. Last time, inhale, arms lift up. This time as you exhale, we'll pause in that forward fold. So you might be able to wrap your hands around your toes. You might want to rest them on your shins or your thighs. And the gaze, I'm going to look down towards my knees, but some of you might want to roll the gaze forwards. Let's just soften there for a few breaths. Some of us might have a very generous bend in the knees, so your belly is almost scraped over your thighs there. Some of us might be able to begin to push the back of the knees towards the floor. Maybe even walk your sit bones back a little bit. So again, you're opening up some space in the back of the legs, what's keeping the low back nice and open. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly, just walk your hands back up your legs, lifting the head. And then we'll just shift and move your feet round to the left there. So tucking your toes round to the left, so we've got that little mermaid shape on the other side, or keep them stretched out in front of you. Left hand this time, hold your shin or your ankle. Palm up on the right hand. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, gazing down towards your feet. We'll take that little side stretch. So it's easy on the neck and it's also very grounding to keep the gaze low. Beautiful. Oh, it's a nice stretch there. Slowly, slowly, we'll come back up through center. Bring that right hand down. You want it kind of quite a ways away from your hips so you can shift the weight forward, stacking your joints, wrist, elbow, and shoulder. Left arm lifts this time. So you might lift the arm up, it might be alongside your ear. You might even push the hips up, extending that top leg so you're on the inside edge of that left foot. And then we draw that top thumb back if my door wasn't in the way. So you're getting that nice stretch. So the hips push forwards, but you draw the thumb back, maybe even lean the upper body back a tad so you get that nice opening through the top of the body there, that left side. Slowly, slowly release. Let's stack the knees, lower the bottom. And once more, we'll pop the feet out in front of you, giving them a little bit of a shake there. Lovely. This time, sliding right heel in towards your groin. And just hold on around the front of that shin there so you can really elevate up through your spine. Nice, long back. So you might want to stay there, kind of using your, I'm going to be down the stairs in a minute, so I'm not angled the camera right, holding on around the front of your knee. You might want to step the foot over. You might even lean into your left bottom and hook the foot around so you can bring that right sit bone down. But if you feel that you're a little bit kind of wonky there, much better to have your underneath leg stretched out. Using the hands around the shins just to lift up nice and tall. Lovely. We'll keep the left hand wrapped around the shin or the knee. Inhale as you reach the right arm up. And turning as you exhale, bringing the fingertips down to the floor behind you. Or if you've got that tendency to lean into that spare hand, wrap the hand around your low back, or maybe even find your left waist there. You can very gently bring that right knee up and in towards the chest, but without compromising that evenness of weight across your sit bones. Maybe even close the eyes or soften the gaze here. Taking that nice rotation through the spine. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly, slowly releasing. Bringing the hands behind you so you can just lean into your hands, extend the legs, give them a little bit of a shake. And then we'll try that on the other side. So sliding left heel in, and be in no hurry. So just for a moment, use that knee for a little bit of traction to lift and lengthen up through the spine, other foot flexed. And then we'll step that left foot over the right, if that works for you. You can even hook right foot. Let's tuck it in around so you can sit your left bottom down firmly. One side might like that, the other side might not. So you can always straighten the underneath leg. Again, just lift up through the spine, hands cup the knee. Right hand stays on the knee this time. Left arm lifts as you inhale. And the whole torso moves as you exhale, fingertips either to the floor behind your left hip there, or even maybe the right hip if the shoulder's very open. Or you can wrap the hand around the low back, whatever works for you. You might scoop that left knee in towards you a little bit more deeply, but without losing that connection with your sit bone. Breathe deeply there, as deeply as you can in a deep twist. Oh, lovely. Ooh, got a bit of a sweat on this morning. My face is the colour of my t-shirt. Oh, slowly, slowly, let's come back through centre. Bring the hands behind you so once more you can give the legs a little bit of a shake. And then walk in your feet just in towards you. So your hands can help guide you back down onto your bottom, onto your back. Lovely. When we get there, scoot your heels a little closer in towards your bottom, back hip width apart, feet flat, knees point up towards the ceiling. Arms relaxed down alongside you with your index fingers lengthening down towards your heels. Beautiful. So let's start just by building that shoulder bridge, by dropping the weight into the waistband of your trousers so you feel the tailbone begin to lift. And then from there, very slowly peel the lower back up and ripple that movement, that lift, all the way up through the spine until you're up between your shoulder blades. I always need to kind of pick up my head and move my head back there so I've got a little bit more space. So you might just want to stay here today, squeezing the inner knees towards one another. Some of you might be able to tuck the shoulder blades underneath you, interlace the hands. So the knuckles are pushing down and just pushing the hips up a little higher, making sure the knees don't roll out to the side. If that doesn't work for you today, keep the hands just resting down on the floor. Lovely. One more breath. And release the hands alongside you. Come onto little tented fingertips. Maybe lift the heels so the hips go nice and high. And use the hands to guide you down as you ripple the spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Lovely. And when you get there, drop the heels. Walk your feet and your knees together this time. And then allow your knees to drop apart, soles of the feet together there. I'm going to suggest either resting the hands on the lower belly or one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Or if you're more open in the shoulders, the hands come above the head, maybe resting one hand on top of the other. You can always slide your heels a little further away from your groin there if that feels a little tight on your hips today. Closing the eyes. Let's take a couple of breaths there into your hips. And this posture as well is to be very cooling because we can breathe more deeply. One of the things we kind of tend to do when it's very hot is we forget to breathe. We breathe kind of more into our chest. So this is one of those postures that's said to help us kind of cool down. A couple more breaths there. If you've got the hands resting on your chest, your belly, you're really kind of trying to guide the breath into your hands. If you've got your arms raised above your head like I have, or bring the arms out level with the shoulders. So either lowering your arms or releasing the arms so they're level with the shoulders, palms up towards the ceiling. Let's close left knee to meet right knee. And just scoop your knees up towards your chest, perhaps. So you feel as you do that, you feel a kind of deepening stretch through your lower back. So the minute that feels uncomfortable, then just slide the heels a bit further away. Settle on in there. Take an inhale with the gaze up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, allow your chin to roll towards left shoulder. With this right hand, I'm going to suggest again that you bring it just on top of your left ribs there, so just on that top waist. And see if you can feel a little bit of movement there with that hand as you try and almost lift that top waist as you inhale, this lovely expansive movement. And then as you exhale, you maybe feel that waist dips beneath the hand. If that doesn't work, you keep the arms out shoulder height. Sometimes helps connect us with the breath. More nice deep and full inhale and exhale there. And gently release that right hand once more level with the shoulder. Bring the gaze up towards the ceiling. And let's just simply open that left knee out to the left. You might need to adjust your feet on the mat if you'd scoot your knees up towards your chest there. So we're back in that reclined goddess or butterfly pose. Lovely, feeling an evenness across your lower back. And then we'll come to that twist on the other side. So right knee simply closes to left knee. You're closing the pages of a book. You can slide the heels further away from you if your back feels tight today, or scoop your knees up towards your chest. Let's take an inhale, looking up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, we roll the chin towards right shoulder. Close the eyes, if that feels nice. And again, your left hand might just rest on that right waist now. So you can kind of get that more visceral experience of your breath beneath your hands. Really important that we improve and maintain the elasticity of the lungs, particularly at the moment when so many of us are concerned about respiratory health. Let's take one more breath there. Releasing both arms out now, level with the shoulders, roll the head up through center. And then once more, just take both knees out wide, soles of the feet together. Let's take a couple more breaths there. And planting the soles of the feet on the floor, so your knees draw together. And bring your knees in towards your chest, one hand on each knee. And either perhaps just rock gently side to side, or a little circling of the knees there, stirring them one way and then the other. And massage out through the low back. And we'll bring the feet down to the floor. Straightening out one leg. And then the other. Reach both arms all the way back above the head, palms up towards the ceiling. You might take them into a nice wide V shape today. And take a couple of really expansive breaths again in that lovely open full body stretch. Oh, bringing the back body soft and down towards the floor as you exhale. And then very gently, bringing the hands down either alongside you with the palms up towards the ceiling, a little bit of space between your arms and the sides of the body. Or again, hand on your belly, on your chest, allowing your toes to roll out to the side. You can separate your feet a little bit wider. You can always bring your heels back in towards you, widening your stance with your feet so you can knock your knees towards one another. If you're doing that, I always like to pick up my hips and then kind of tuck my tailbone under before I bring my hips down to the floor, so I've kind of created more space in the low back. Close the eyes wherever you are. And let's just draw the mind back to the breath. Perhaps it's already pulling you forwards into that list of things that you need to do for the rest of the day. I'm just going to come up to seated, but you stay there for a moment. So again, just following that deep inhale all the way down into that lower hand if it's resting on your belly. You might even again want to part the lips and very gently sigh that exhale out. So the mind is focused just for these next few rounds of breath, purely on that flow of inhale and exhale. And when the breath has settled into that satisfying rhythm, just shift your focus to your face. Take away any expression of thought or concentration from your forehead. Allow the brow to feel smooth and open. Space between the eyebrows, relaxing. Allow that sense of spaciousness to drop down into your cheeks, into your jaw, and the lips. The whole face feels smooth and serene. You bring that awareness now into your chest. You feel with each inhale that the collarbones almost smile as you lift the chest, broadening that space between them. As you exhale, you feel that corresponding weight dropping into your shoulder blades as the upper back begins to release. Just bring your awareness a little bit lower down to the front of the hips now, an area where many of us hold a bit of tension and tightness almost without knowing it. So direct your next couple of breaths into that area around the front of the hips. Feeling again as you exhale that corresponding release of your lower back of the pelvis into the floor. And just shifting your focus finally to your legs, your feet. If your legs are extended, you really surrender to the weight of the legs. So allow the legs just to receive the support of the floor beneath you. There's no gripping in those big muscles of your quads, your thighs. You're not scrunching your toes or tightening up all of that fascia of your feet, which is shown. Kind of that fascia is almost like a second skin beneath our skin that wraps around us. And tightening that kind of skin around your feet and transfer all the way up into your neck, your shoulders. So all interconnected, both with ourselves and one another. Just take a few steady and calming breaths in quietness now, feeling again the benefit of that deep and full inhale, rejuvenating and restoring, and equally the benefit of the exhale, releasing and relaxing as it goes. And just over the next couple of breaths, if your hands are resting on your chest, your belly, just bring your arms down alongside you, and we'll all just flip the palms up towards the ceiling. Very gently begin to move the fingers, a gentle wiggle through the fingers there. Maybe a closing of the hands into a soft fist, and then begin to spread the fingers nice and wide as you open the hands. So that once or twice more, just warming up through the hands, and then a little bit of a wake up this morning. And then keeping the fingers spread, the palms up towards the ceiling. Just bring your hands together, and then your thumbs to rest on your forehead. We're lying down in our namaste position. Taking a moment there just to acknowledge how you're feeling now at the end of a practice, maybe a little different from the beginning. Recognise each and every one of us who's come together, albeit remotely, to share a practice on this hot morning. Simply what namaste means, that recognition of ourselves and seeing ourselves in others. And so with that, namaste. If you want to come up to seated, take your time. If you simply want to stay lying on the floor, stay lying on the floor.